Hey YouTube, this is Ken Hill with Guns, Gear, and Freedom, and I just wanted to make a video to show a revolver that I had restored. It was one that my father had given to me for a birthday present when I think I was about 17 years old. I'm almost 30 now. The revolver, I did something bad to it back when I was young and stupid. I found the hammer on it and it broke. And so I took the gun apart to figure out why the hammer wouldn't cock back and lock. And in doing so, I noticed that there was a nub broke off of the hammer, and the manual that came with the gun, it said that I could order another hammer for it, and I put all the parts in the box, and I left them sit, and I let them sit, and I let them sit. Well, I never did order the part, and so they sat in basically in limbo for over 12 years, and I moved out of my dad's house a long time back, probably when I was like 18, 19, and when I got out of there, I left that behind, and recently this year I went back through some of my old stuff, and I found a box full of revolver parts, except the only thing is it wasn't as full as it was when I left it. There were several parts missing, several screws missing, and most of the parts were pitted, rusted. As you can see in these photos, they just kind of look terrible. And so I decided to try something I'd never done before. I figured, okay, well, I will try to get the pits and the rust gone, and since I'm good with my hands, I decided to give that a try. In doing so, I started out with the revolver frame. It was pitted and rusted, as you can tell in this photograph here, and I used a Dremel tool, and I had some sanding discs. They were about 80 grit. Some of them were 120 and 140 grit, and eventually I had to get wet or dry paper to I think it was up to 400 grit. I had to hand sand a lot of this too. But moving through the pictures of the revolver frame, you can sort of see how the project takes shape from being pitted and rusted and being sanded down, and getting rid of the pits and the rust and the old bluing, until finally we get to the barrel. And the barrel, it was heavily rusted and pitted, pretty much so that I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to remove the rust or the pitting. And I spent probably most of my time hand sanding that barrel. As you can see in the photograph, the photographs of these barrel pictures, there are lots of pits and quite a bit of rust, and I just sanded that down, used the Dremel primarily to take the bluing off, and I started seeing the pits, and I kept plugging away at the pits with the Dremel tool. Finally, I had to go to the hand sanding, and I did a circular motion, if you will, to get those pits out of there. Eventually, you get to the pictures where you can see how it shined up. All of the bluing and all of the rust is now gone. And then the next part that I had was the handle. And the handle, as you can tell by the pictures, it doesn't look too bad, at least on the surface, but when you actually remove the bluing, it is awfully pitted. As you go through these photos, you will see just how heavily pitted it really is, and it was a nightmare. I'll tell you the truth, it was just a disgusting nightmare. It took me about a week messing with this revolver, just sanding it and working on it every day to get it smooth, to get the pits out of it, and to get it polished back out where it would take bluing. And as you can tell by the photos, it starts to go from pitted on the handle to less pitted and less pitted, until finally most of the pitting is gone, or at least all of the pitting that I could get out of it was gone. And then the next photograph shows a picture of the shell casing ejector. It was pitted pretty bad. I didn't get a photo of that before I fixed it, but I just dremeled all the pits out of it with kind of like I'd like to say a sharpening stone, but it wasn't really a sharpening stone, but it would remind you of one, and took a lot of the deep pits out, and then I sanded that and got a smooth surface on that, and then tried to polish it out. And then I decided to use Birchwood Casey Permablue. I heard things good about it, and I wasn't sure. I heard things bad about it as well, but I decided for the price of 17 bucks, I was going to give it a shot. I mean, I didn't have much to lose. So with that being said, I decided to blue the parts that I'd already sanded and cleaned, and it's a process because you have a cleaner, you have pretty much the bluing itself, and a bluing remover. And first you basically use the blue and rust remover to wipe down all the parts after you've taken all the bluing off. It's supposed to take bluing off, but I just do it with the Dremel. It makes it easier and a better job. Yeah, you wipe down your parts, and then you use the cleaner degreaser after all of that and clean up your parts really good. Once your parts are clean, then you're ready to add Permablue, and it is an art. I will tell you, to get it perfect, it is an art. It takes several applications, and I find that the best method is to use a hair dryer and actually heat up your parts before you try to put this Permablue on, because it will take the bluing better if the pores of the metal are open. If they're open, the bluing gets in better, sticks better, doesn't come off as easy, in my opinion, whether you touch the gun a lot or not. If you heat the gun first, it will stick better. But moving on through the pictures, you can see how the bluing actually did turn out through the handle, the shell casing ejector, and pretty much the entire gun until we get to the finished product, which is laying on this blue towel. And then I also had I guess it's a cedar box that came with the gun. I was surprised that it was still there. I had to do a little bit of light sanding with that to get it to look good again, but I sanded it out and it looks brand new. So basically a 12-year-old pistol that was just sitting around rotting and missing parts, I restored, but I had to order probably about, I don't know, I would say 80-90 bucks worth of parts. Each screw in this gun is $5 or more, so I was missing just about every screw you could imagine. I was missing the hammer. I just had parts missing, and I had to order all of them. So just to get the screws, they were like $5 to $8 a piece. The hammer, I think, was like 20 bucks, somewhere around there. But yeah, it really turned out better than I expected for an amateur that's never done it before. But I hope you enjoyed this showing me, or me showing you rather, what I did as far as a gun restoration. Maybe you can do the same with yours. Please like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you guys in the next video.